Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fourth installment of the 7-round team mock draft series for 2024. We've already done the Carolina Panthers, who technically hold the first overall pick. We've done the Washington Commanders, and we've done the New England Patriots. Now we land on the Arizona Cardinals, who are absolutely loaded with draft capital. Let's just take a look at it real quick without trading back. As you know that we do this in this series now, we do trade back or do make trades. They're loaded with 7 top 100 picks, not to mention 131, 151, 170, and you can't see it at the bottom of the screen, but I believe it's 198. So an incredible arsenal of picks that the Arizona Cardinals do possess here. We might do some maneuvering up and down the board. We might not, but I'm super excited to get into this. So if you enjoy videos like this, please be sure to leave a like and please be sure to subscribe to the channel, especially if you haven't seen your favorite team yet. I will be doing all 32 teams as I always do, and I've definitely ramped up the production of these videos for this year, as kind of like last year and the year before that, I kind of just did it at my leisure whenever I had time. This year I'm going full 100% into it, and I'm super excited, and this is a great mock draft. I've run this simulation a bunch of times for the Arizona Cardinals, and every time that I've done it, there's just such a slew of talent that they really can get in this draft. And I think I've done the best job that I can. So let me know in the comment section below if you are an Arizona Cardinals fan. Without further delay, let's get into it. So right off the bat, kind of demoralizing here because you see 1, 2, 3, you see Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board. I don't really think that would happen, to be quite honest with you. I think it would be flipped. If Caleb Williams goes number 1 overall, I think Drake May would be number 2. And then as a consolation prize for the top 2 quarterbacks being off the board, I would think that the Patriots would probably go with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Jaden Daniels, one of those two. So we're sitting at number 4. We've had no trade offers for this pick. And it's kind of a bummer because that was the first thing that I would really want to do. If there's no Marvin, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust for me at number 4. So he's not here. So what I'm going to do is not only am I going to take a look at the best player available, but I'm going to look at the best player available at a position of massive need. So wide receiver, I'll be honest with you, I like Rome Odunze a little bit more than Malik Neighbors. He'd probably be my wide receiver too. And on other days, he would probably be the number 4 overall pick here for me. I don't think either one of these guys is worthy of a top 5 pick. Now, is that saying that they're bad players? I think they're worthy of top 10 selections, but I think you can get better players here at number 4. This is still like the best players in the entire draft. Brock Bowers is an interesting case, but with Trey McBride being as good as he was since he returned from injury and blossoming into easily a top 7 tight end this season, I don't think that you need to waste, quote unquote, a pick on Brock Bowers. So here, I'm going to go a little bit far down the board. This might be a little bit of a reach for some of you, but if you guys are fans of my channel and have been for this entire draft cycle, you guys know that this is probably my favorite player on the entire draft board. At number 4, I'm going to take Jerzon Newton here. Just understanding the pick a little bit, the Cardinals were 25th or 26th this season in pressure. From the interior, they really didn't get much. And Jerzon Newton is someone that is just super versatile in a 4-3 or a 3-4. In odd fronts, he could play 5 tech. In even fronts, he could play 3 tech as well. He's super versatile. He's a tremendous run defender, and he's an excellent pass rusher to boot. It's very interesting that, like, the first thing that you say about Jerzon Newton is, oh my God, he's such a tremendous run defender. And then you're like, well, how about pass rushing? It's like, oh, he's great at that too. To me, personally, he's the best player in the entire draft. So instead of taking a chance and waiting to see if he's there at 21, which I know sounds crazy because that's a 17 pick difference, I'm going to take him here at 4. I don't think it's a reach. I think it's a massive position of need for the Arizona Cardinals. And to me, like I said, he's the best player in the entire class from the defensive side. So the number 4 overall pick for me is going to be Jerzon Newton. So at number 21 here, we have a slew of offensive players available. I will be completely transparent with you guys here. This was going to be a Nate Wiggins pick for me here, but he did go at number 16. So that's kind of a bummer. I really would have thought, imagine escaping the first round as a Cardinals fan with Nate Wiggins and Jerzon Newton to really bolster your defense here. But I see Rome Odunze is still on the board here at 21, but I think you and I both know that that's pretty unrealistic at this point. So I'm not going to take him purely for the fact that I think it's a little bit unrealistic. Someone that is here, though, that I think could definitely be here at 21 on draft day is Brian Thomas Jr. Now, this is a really interesting case because not only are you getting that X receiver that the Arizona Cardinals are missing right now, 6'4", 215 pounds, really, really fast, great in contested catch situations, and could really separate as well. I think that this is a prototypical number one wide receiver in the NFL, in today's NFL. This pick was either going to be Brian Thomas or Adonai Mitchell for me. It's kind of the same thing. I think Brian Thomas is just a little bit stronger, a little bit more physical at the catch point than Adonai Mitchell. So I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. here. So yeah, you don't get a Marvin Harrison Jr., you don't get a Malik Neighbors, you don't get a Rome Odunze, but you get someone that is amazing at every level of the offense at the X wide receiver position. So Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the pick for me here at number 21 for the Cardinals. So as you see here, we have number 4 and number 21. The Arizona Cardinals get out of the first round with Trezon Newton and Brian Thomas Jr. We move on to number 35 overall right here. Just basically another first round pick at this point. An excellent place to be. Now, I'm going to address the secondary here. I think that, Garrett Williams has done a really good job. I think Catrell Clark is someone that's going to be a really, really great slot cornerback. I think we're missing another boundary corner, to be quite honest with you. And there's someone here that I'm super high on. I'm going to push my own narrative. I just put out, if you're watching this on Monday, I just put out yesterday a Quinyon Mitchell NFL draft prospect profile, and I did list the Arizona Cardinals as a team that he could fit in, and that's exactly who I'm going to go with here. He's on the board at the 40th overall prospect. I just think he fits exactly what the Arizona Cardinals are looking for, and at the cornerback position, they need more aggressive playmakers, and you're not going to get a corner that's more aggressive and more handsy at the catch point than Quinyon Mitchell, and I think that this is someone that forces a ton of incompletions. He's got incredible ball productivities. He had 19 pass deflections 2 years ago. He had 18 this past season, 6 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. He's a great player. Now, his top end speed, or I should say recovery speed, is something that might come into question, but he is a fantastic player overall, and I think that he will be excellent in the Arizona Cardinals defensive scheme. So Quinyon Mitchell is going to be the pick for me at number 35. Now we're sitting here at number 66 here, and this is interesting because I could go with a pass rusher here. To be quite honest with you, there's some good ones available, but I'm going to look at the offensive line here. I really considered taking Olu Fashanu at number 4 overall to be that left tackle of the future. I'm going to hold off on that right now. Harris Johnson, a great young player. Will Hernandez is having a career resurgence. I'm looking to fill the void on that other guard position, though, here. And Christian Haynes is available, and he's on the board. And that's someone that I really, first off, can see being here at number 66. And he is one of my favorite offensive line prospects in the entire draft class. He's probably up there and being the best pure guard in the entire draft class. I think in this draft class, we're looking at, tackle being so unbelievably stacked. We're looking at center being unbelievably stacked. We kind of get lost in the shuffle with guard, but it is a super solid guard class as well. And Christian Haynes, in my opinion, is the best overall guard. Just pure guard, 6'4", 330 pounds. Don't let the small school fool you. This guy is an absolute beast, and I think that he would be a fantastic addition to the offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. So he's going to be my pick at number 66. We don't have to go too far here for these few picks, 66, 71, and 86. But at 71, I'm going to pull the trigger on a player that I think is going to be a great long-term piece for the Arizona Cardinals, or any team that winds up drafting him, to be quite honest with you. And that's going to be running back Braylon Allen here. Allen is, first off, he's coming from incredible lineage at Wisconsin. You think automatically Jonathan Taylor, you think Melvin Gordon, guys like that. Hell, even Monty Ball. You're thinking about, he didn't really wear the NFL, but he was a great college running back. But Braylon Allen is someone that's ended the draft cycle as a 19-year-old. Now, I think James Conner played great at the end of the year. Is he your long-term solution at running back? Probably not. Is DeMarcado your long-term running back solution? Probably not. Same thing with Tony Jones. Same thing with Michael Carter. These guys, I don't think are the long-term answer. Braylon Allen is someone that I really like because one, doesn't really have too much tread on the tires as some of these Wisconsin running backs do. That was a big talking point with Jonathan Taylor coming into the NFL. He had so many carries in his 3 years in Wisconsin. How was he going to fare? I think he fared pretty well. What I'm thinking with Braylon Allen here is 19, probably going to be 20 by the time, he is going to be 20 by the time that the NFL season comes around. This is someone that you bring along as time goes on. This isn't someone that you give 300 carries to right away. You get what you can out of James Conner, and this is your change of pace back. And then this is someone eventually that maybe like a Tony Pollard type of player who gets in there and he's absolutely electric, and then he gets to take over eventually. I think that's the type of player that Braylon Allen is going to be, and I think that's a really nice fit in the Arizona Cardinals' long-term offensive plans. So Braylon Allen will be the pick for me at number 71. I know we're waiting a little bit on edge here, but I'm trying to really take some long-term pieces here. At number 86 here, I just mentioned the edge. I'm going to address it right now. Darius Robinson is someone that I really like, that I think is going to get a lot more love throughout this draft process. He's going to the Senior Bowl as well. 6'5", 296 pounds. So this is another, Jerzon Newton type of player. We're not getting a 3-4 edge rusher or 3-4 rush linebacker, but we have that in BJ Ojulari. We have that sort of kind of in Zaven Collins as well. So I'm going to hold off on that, let BJ Ojulari develop into his second season. I'm getting more guys that are going to play with their hand in the dirt on the defensive line. Now, Robinson is another player just like Jerzon Newton that's going to be able to shift all over the offensive line. He's a great power rusher as well, good run stopper as well. And, getting this at this point in the third round, getting someone like this that could start right away, I think is just perfect. Imagine Jerzon Newton and Darius Robinson next to each other on the defensive line. Something that is terrifying for opposition. So I'm going to go with Darius Robinson here at number 86 to kind of shore up the rest of that defensive line. At number 100, I'm going to address, off-ball linebacker as a position. I mean, it's just a super thin position for the Arizona Cardinals. I really think that they could use some youth. They could use some power. And there's someone that has gotten the absolute spotlight over the past few weeks in college football. That's Junior Colson at pick number 100 here. Don't even know if he'll actually be here during the NFL draft at this point, but this is a pretty weak linebacker class, to be quite honest with you. And I think Colson has a real chance to stand out as maybe like a top 5 linebacker. He's big. He's 6'3" off the top of my head. I know he's like 246 pounds. He is a downhill mauler of a tackler. Just someone that, in the stat sheet isn't really going to throw out a ton of insane statistics. He's a good tackle for loss type of guy. He's a sure tackler, decent coverage guy as well. I think Colson would be really nice with Kaiser White as well. I just think that I wasn't in love when I'm looking at the depth chart. I'm looking at the free agents. I'm not in love with the depth that the Arizona Cardinals have at the linebacker position. So getting someone like Colson who can be a starter right away, I think is very, very important for the development of this defense. At pick number 131 here, I'm going to address the offensive line once again here. DJ Humphries went down with a season-ending injury. Kelvin Beachum is super old at this point. You have your right tackle of the future in Paris Johnson Jr. Maybe it's time to address the offensive line. Maybe get someone that you could develop along the way. I think Javon Foster is someone that has kind of got lost throughout this draft process here. Someone that was viewed as a very high offensive tackle prospect and then just kind of got lost as the season went on because so many people were performing. Not to say that Javon Foster hasn't performed. He's performed very, very well, but doesn't have the athletic upside that some of these guys have. And he's athletic, don't get me wrong, but some of these guys are just absolute freaks. This is an incredible tackle class. But Foster is someone that I really like in the mid rounds here that can develop into a starting tackle eventually. I think he could easily play left tackle. You look at some guys that are later round picks that have developed into, left tackles, right? You're thinking of Rasheed Walker right now. I just watched the Green Bay Packers decimate the Dallas Cowboys at home, and Rasheed Walker was the starting left tackle, I think the 233rd overall pick. This is someone that I think that could be developed along the way, get some spot starts here and there. I think he's going to be a really good player at the NFL level, so he's going to be my pick at 131. At number 151 here, I'm going with another defensive lineman here. Fabian Lovett is still on the board. Someone that I really like. Braden Fisk is someone that kind of took over as the, best defensive line prospect from Florida State, minus Jared Verse, obviously, in this draft process. But Fabian Lovett's someone that's been super consistent as well. He's someone that's going to play more of a nose guard, maybe a defensive tackle at the next level. Someone that's just going to provide really good depth. He's a sound run defender as well, can provide a little bit of pocket collapsing pressure and a little bit of sacks here and there. Just someone who's going to be a great depth player that could, kind of spot start if you need him to. At this point in the draft, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for impact guys that are going to fill out the roster, and that's exactly what I think Fabian Lovett is going to be. At number 170 here, I'm going to take a flyer on Joe Milton, the Tennessee quarterback that could probably throw the ball from Arizona to where I'm living in New York right now. He had a pretty disappointing season, I'm not going to lie. I was infatuated with him after last year. I thought he was someone that was going to command late first, early second round consideration due to his massive arm strength. And that's really what it is. And that's the sad part. It's not arm talent, it's arm strength. He is athletic as well. He's a humongous human being, 6'5", 246 pounds. He could probably throw the ball 100 yards, honestly, on a rope. He's got one of the strongest arms I've ever seen, but he needs a massive just overhaul of development. And for someone that's not going to be a starter, I think that, he can develop nicely to be a backup type of player. And with the uncertainties with Kyler Murray's injury history and all that kind of stuff, it's nice to have someone that you could rely on if you could develop. I don't really think Clayton Tune is that guy, so why not take a flyer on someone like Joe Milton, who has tremendous arm strength, and if you could develop him along the way, he could turn into a very, very reliable backup. So Joe Milton's going to be the pick at 170. And then with our last pick here at number 198 in this 7-round mock draft, I'm going to go with Rice wide receiver Luke McCaffrey. This is someone that a lot of people have been saying is going to be this year's Puka Nacua. Now, get ready, people, because if you guys love the NFL draft, this is what a lot of people are going to be saying about a lot of prospects from here on out. Now, I know because, he broke the rookie receiving record and he's looked fantastic. Everyone that kind of shows a glimmer of hope that's in day 3 is going to go, oh my God, that could be the next Puka Nacua. But Luke McCaffrey is probably the most it's crazy to say this about the 259th overall prospect on PFN, but I think he's the grittiest wide receiver in the entire draft class. He's super physical, super tough, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that can be an impact player from late day 3. And just with the uncertainties of the depth of the position for the Arizona Cardinals, I think getting as much talent as you physically can is key. We got Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round here, adding Luke McCaffrey to Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Rondell Moore. Who knows if Marquise Hollywood Brown is coming back? But if he does, then that's an incredibly promising receiving room with Trey McBride as well, Braylon Allen, James Conner. You know what I'm saying? Then you got a good offense there with a couple of these offensive line pieces as well. So Luke McCaffrey is going to be my final pick in this 7-round mock draft. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. There is the results of my 7-round Arizona Cardinals mock draft. At number 4 overall, we went with Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. 21, we went with Brian Thomas Jr., big boy wide receiver out of LSU. 35, Quinyon Mitchell, a super aggressive corner out of Toledo. Christian Haynes, a guard from UConn out of 66. 71, Braylon Allen, the youngster running back from Wisconsin. 86, Darius Robinson, versatile edge rusher out of Missouri. At number 100, Junior Colson, linebacker out of Michigan. 131, Javon Foster. 151, Fabian Lovett. 170, big-armed rocket man Joe Milton. And our last pick at 198, wide receiver out of Rice, Luke McCaffrey. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, especially if you are an Arizona Cardinals fan. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I see you in the next one.